for that introduction. Hello, everybody. Hello, Paris. So we've all probably done a little bit of vibe coding over the last year or so. I work at a database company, so I think a lot about, well, can you do vibe coding with data? Can you vibe with data? So this is my talk. This is the snack version of a fuller version of what I've got that I'll share later. But it's all about, and actually I love the previous talk, the idea that as soon as you go down the route of making any kind of agents, you run into all kinds of challenges that lead you down to making a multi-agent system. And you do a multi-agent system for a couple of reasons. You do that because the agents have got too many responsibilities, they get confused, they have context rot that happens, semantic drift that happens. So you break down the problem to make it simpler and have more agents that are focused on different parts of the problem. Along the way, because you've got multiple agents, you have the opportunity to use specialized models. The way that we saw in the previous talk, specialized models outperform general models in all tasks. So you have the opportunity, as soon as you break things up, to have models that do just one part of a puzzle. Okay, that's the quick setup. So I've been building a multi-agent system to actually vibe with data to help you build a knowledge graph, because I work for a graph database company. And this starts with top-level agent that interacts with the user and helps figure out what the user wants to get done. But then there's three specialized channels here for either taking in structured data, unstructured data, and then once you've built a graph, retrieving information out of that, what's called graph rag from the graph perspective. So I'm going to take you through a speed run of what this looks like in action. I have a longer talk about the details of how you implement this. All the code is open source. I'm happy to share that with you guys as well. Okay, so here's the speed run in video form. Imagine you want to build a bill of materials graph. You don't know how to do that. So you turn to this agent and say, hey, I would like to create a bill of materials graph. Send that off. The first job of the agent is to figure out, what do you really mean? What are you trying to get done? It goes through a bit of bouncing around here, like figuring out which agent should pick up this whole thread, and realizes, okay, I don't quite understand what you're trying to get done here. Let me ask some clarifying questions. So to ask, tell me more about what you're trying to do with the knowledge graph. And I tell it, okay, great, I want to trace from the products all the way through the bill of materials, all the way down to the suppliers, so I can do root cause analysis for product issues that are reported, like on a website review or something. Okay, human in the loop is important to me, so after the agent decides, it thinks it understands what I just said, it said, this is what I heard you say, was that correct? I approve it, and then it moves on to the next stage. And the next step, having understood what I'm trying to get done, it goes off to find what data is available that might satisfy creating that kind of a graph. It has tools available to it to look through the file system. For all the files that are available, it can kind of grep through those and find the content of the files. And then here it makes a recommendation about, here's the files that I just found, some product files, some assembly files, and also some suppliers. It presents that to me again for approval. I said, sure, that looks great. It goes on to the next agent. Now we know the user's intent. We know the data available. The third agent's job is just to focus on, given the data and the user's goal, what would the data model look like? So it goes off and does some analysis on that. And the outcome of the analysis is that it comes up with a proposal for what the graph could look like. And again, it's just a proposal. It doesn't actually do anything yet. Shows that to me. I can go ahead and look through it and see that looks correct. It looks like it covers all the kind of data that I'd like to have inside of the graph. And here I'm carefully scrolling through, making sure all the nodes are there, that the nodes are connected to each other in a good way. I've got a good connected graph. And here again, I'm just going to go ahead and approve that part of the workflow. With that approved, we can finally transfer over to the agent that's going to go ahead and build the graph. And the building part of it, and this is where the specialized agents really would shine, specialized both agents and models, is that if you go from just ideation with the user, you kind of maybe want OpenAI or generalist model for that. As soon as you go down to a specialized task, having specialized models would be amazing. And here we've gone through all the way, pulling in those data files, creating the graph, and it's even recommended some queries that I might be able to run there inside of the interface. Now, instead of dealing with interface, I'm going to pop over to the database side to see what the data actually looks like. And here I've done a match looking for the products that are inside of the graph that was just created. This particular product is the Stockholm, I forget if it's a table or a chair, but that chair is made out of some assembly, some different pieces, and those pieces have some parts, and those parts come from suppliers. All of that was created on the fly by this multi-agent system. That is my speed run. If you'd love to hear the long view, come talk to me afterwards. I've got about 10 seconds left, so I can't take any questions. Thank you.